Welcome back. And yeah, I'm really happy I'm recording this last video in our masterclass. I hope that you've enjoyed it so far. I hope I've delivered on the promise. I've helped you answer the major questions, where to start. And basically this depends on where you at and what you aspire to become, what your background, what your strengths. And that's why we've looked into the holistic picture, and that's why I'm sharing this mind map that I've started developing before I started with the course. So the thought process was why we're doing this, what we are doing, and how we are doing this, and then you can see yourself basically fit in one of these dimensions. Either you can start with a why, you fit in specific driver, or your industry fit in specific driver, or maybe you can see yourself in one or more of the main three dimensions: practice, strategy, or disclosure. Or maybe you can see yourself in a specific aspect when it comes to disclosure. You can see yourself in the environmental part, social part, or governance part. Maybe specific standards apply to your industry where you need to focus on. Maybe you see yourself in the strategy and specific dimension when it comes to global actions. Maybe you aspire to work in NGO rather than a business NGO that works on the ESG aspects. That would be a good starting point if you have a background in non-governmental organizations. Maybe national ambitions, regulatory landscape if you are in the other part of the spectrum, or maybe materiality assessment and how to build a strategy and benchmarking. On the other hand, maybe you have a specific expertise when it comes to operation, where you actually have experience when it comes to energy management, emission management, emission reduction, and you can be part of the climate pillar when it comes to operation. Or maybe pollution, if you have great understanding. Let's say you work in the chemical industry and you have a good understanding of chemistry, that would be a great fit and a great start, maybe with the water biodiversity. So the whole idea was to show you the holistic view, the full roadmap, and then you can basically answer the question yourself where you fit into the ESG space and how you can either shift to sustainability ESG role, or maybe greenify or make your current position more green, or start by taking more projects or leaning toward environmental, social, or governance projects that are already on your organization. Here I started backward, so the thought process was basically in reverse. Started with a why we are doing this, why businesses should care about sustainability, why they should come into the sustainability transition, and the whole idea of comparing the sustainability transition to the digital transition came out of this thought process. Basically, it affects every industry, every sector, every role. Everyone is affected. Whoever isn't on board would be left behind. Therefore, it is important for you as a professional to get more understanding of the why, the how, and the what, to get the knowledge, the skills required for the future of green jobs. On the other hand, for organizations, they must understand why they need to take action and how to take action. Therefore, this is where the idea of having the why, it's the most important part that most people forget to look into. However, it's the starting point. We ended up the course by explaining the why, and that's basically we've built from what is sustainability, what is happening and what we do, and then we've reflected on why we are doing it. So basically, we are doing it to ensure that the critical challenges, global critical challenges to be solved. Regulatory landscape, there's different regulation that we need to ensure that we are compliant with. We need to attract investment. We need to enhance and support this sustainable finance cycle that we've looked into, and ensure that we are using this fund to a more sustainable projects, to provide a more sustainable product. Competitiveness, operational optimization, and how this part is very crucial, that basically the operational optimization support the other 5 drivers, because when you have a good operational optimization, you are improving, you are solving the main challenge in the critical times, you are ensuring that you are compliant and ahead of regulation, you are ensuring that you are improving over time, therefore you are attracting investment, and then you're ensuring that when it comes to competitiveness, if you're improving, then you are on a good place, and you ensure the risks of the other aspects is eliminated or at least reduced, minimized. Then we come to the what. So basically we understand that it is crucial to ACT because of the drivers we've explained. But what is ACT? What does it mean? And here I have also included some tools, basically the materiality assessment or the double materiality assessment. It's a funnel that makes sure that businesses are focused on the most crucial aspect and have a better understanding of the whole landscape when it comes to ESG. The SWOT analysis, the gap assessment, I guess the next course will cover one of these or more of these tools that help build the strategy and help in when it comes to the know-how and the skills, the technical skills when it comes to sustainability. Professionals aspire to work on strategy. And then we look at what we are doing. We are building a strategy. We're ensuring our strategy is aligned with the vision, with the values, with the governance. We ensure that sustainability is part of the governance, and that was also a big part of this course to understand why it is important, because the governance is how the whole organization is working and to ensure that all three pillars or dimensions are working in harmony. Then we have the disclosure and we have the practice. And this is how is this done when it comes to disclosure? How? When we talk about the mandatory in the EU, we are talking the ESRS. So if you are based on the EU and you aspire to work in the disclosure part, or you aspire to be an ESG controller, ESG manager or sustainability manager who's working on reporting, focus on the ESRS, understand the different standards in here and what we are reporting and why we are reporting on these aspects. There's also the different frameworks for different countries where sustainability is mandated, but without a specific standard, rather referring to the TCFD. You can use the GRI, the ISSB. So here you need to understand where is your organization and your industry. The most popular is the GRI, but that's not necessary for the organization that you are looking forward to work with or you are already currently working for. Then we've talked about when it comes to disclosure, we still have the ESG rating. So there are different ratings that you can look into the methodology, understand how this works. We have the CDP also under the sustainability voluntary reporting. Therefore, this is how disclosure works. And then we have the strategy, and this is how the strategy is built. The strategy have different streams that we need to ensure. So if you aspire to work on sustainability, focus on building a strategy as well, understanding how the strategy is built. Materiality assessment is really essential here. Understanding the regulatory landscape, which I also do have document for the EU that covers all the sustainability directives and how they affect the industries in and outside Europe. So this is also a really important pillar for our stream for your sustainability strategy benchmarking. This is another tool used to build strategy, national ambition, and the sustainable development goals where we align with the global action. Therefore, these are different streams of how we build a strategy. This is how we build a strategy, and then we comes to the operation. When it comes to operation, I've focused on the E where my expertise lays, but there's also the social and governance part. However, when it comes to understanding the operation, it depends on where you find yourself. So if you find yourself with a background in environmental aspects, or you have an engineering science degree, then I would assume that environment is the part or the pillar that you can contribute most to, and you can benefit from your expertise in background when applying to a new job or shifting your career. Then you can focus on the E pillar. And if you can go deeper and focus on climate, let's say decarbonization managers do focus on climate. If you have a background in chemistry, as mentioned earlier, and you work in the chemical industry, then pollution would be a great starting point. Water and marine resources for sure as well. If you have a wastewater treatment background, then this is a great place to start or shift to ESG. Biodiversity is having a front seat right now and in the coming years. Therefore, this would be a great starting point for those of you who have a background in ecosystems and biodiversity. Resources and circularity is also a really growing area that you can focus on. If you have, and here are the supportive frameworks that can help you understand further each pillar. So if you are focusing on climate change, look into these aspects. I don't want to repeat myself. However, this is how I envision the course to go through this mind map. Why what and how, and who is served by this. And this is basically you as a business professional and you to ESG, or maybe you are a sustainability manager or coordinator. And for sure, the non-sustainability leaders and decision makers will benefit from this course. Therefore, I hope I've delivered on the promise. I hope you enjoyed the course, and yeah, I wish you all the best. And today is 31st of December 2024. Therefore, Happy New Year.